that Claude will need to call, that you will need to call. For example, here you will need to call, fetch web content with query as whatever I gave, like quanta or whatever. Like I want to know about quanta. Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel. Today we are going to discuss about Model Context Protocol or MCP. So this is a new thing that has been taking everything by storm lately. The entire AI community is going crazy over it. So let's learn what it is, and we'll see a project on this, and we'll break it down everything like the MCP client, the MCP server, how Claude integrates this into our API, and I'll show an end-to-end working project that will help you to understand MCP in its full entire detail. Okay, so let's start about first thing is what exactly is MCP. So MCP basically means the Model Context Protocol. So let's break down each letter in MCP, explain what was possible before MCP and what exactly is MCP bringing to the table. So this is a great visualization of MCP, as you can see right here. So you don't need to understand it right now. I'll explain each and every detail of it. Don't worry about it. By the end of this video, you will have a complete understanding of Model Context Protocol, and you will have an end-to-end project working perfectly fine and ready to host. Okay, so let's start. So first thing is model context. So model context refers to the structured information that you give an LLM to help it to perform better on your application-specific tasks. Whether that's like accessing tools, what do I mean by that? For example, you want to access your files, databases, or you want to understand your system state. You want to access a REST API. You want to access a database. You want to access an API. For example, you want to do web search. So that is accessing a tool, which is like the web search. Or you want to do a search of your entire directory, or you want to make a new directory. So these are all different tool calls that are required, like you require the LLM to do to make your lives easier. So the agent, the AI agent, basically it is able to decide. It's not doing these tool calls by itself. The LLM does not have the capability. So what it does, the LLM decides which tool call we want to make. So for example, LLM decides whether we want to search the directory for a particular file, whether we want to search a code file for a particular function. So these are particular tool calls that are defined specifically, and the LLM basically decides which tool call we want to make in order to understand the system. So this entire thing is called the model context, because the LLM knows which tools are available to it, which tool it wants to pursue based on the request that we are providing, and what all the external data, like for example, let's say you have available this entire code that I'm going to write. So this is available and we want LLM to understand the code base. So what will it do? So it will have to read the files. So for that, it will have to access the files. So this entire thing is the model context. The LLM is able to access the files. LLM is able to access the database, and it's able to curate the perfect SQL query. It's able to find a particular thing from the database. It's able to find a particular thing from the file and make changes to the file based on what we want it to do. It's a simple idea. LLMs, they are stateless and they're context hungry. So LLMs, they had trained on huge chunks of data, trillions, millions of tokens. But we need to give the LLMs the correct context and all the relevant information so that it's able to go into its entire training information and find out the exact thing we're searching for. And model context is just the organized way of doing that. So let's understand, like before we jump into the protocols, P in the protocol. So let's understand what was possible before MCP. So basically before MCP, we still could do function calling and everything, but it was very complicated because you would have to write functions, like you will have to write a function that will access your file. You'll have to write a function that will access your database. So these are you will have to write, and you will have to plug it into the LLM, and the LLM, you will have to send it in the context of the LLM, and the LLM will be able to understand it and give you back the answer. So this entire thing we will have to do, and it will be different for each and every LLMs. But now model context is basically a standardized protocol of doing everything under the hood. So this MCP, okay, let me explain how it works. So this MCP actually has three things which are the most important thing. First is the host, and then second is the client, and third is the server. So what exactly is the host? The host is an LLM application, like suppose say Claude or Cursor or whatever, Code LLM, whatever. Like these are all LLM applications which are able to initiate the connection. We'll need some integration thing, right? And this integration thing is done by the LLM application because it's able to, understand based on our query. Say I want to search this function somewhere in this folder. So you know which folder, and the LLM application Claude, let's say Claude, let's say GPT, whatever, it's able to understand which folder, it's able to understand which file from there, and then based on that, it generates the exact JSON tool call that is like, go to this repository, go to this folder, and then search this. So this is like, this would be a terminal command or something that they would execute on its own under the hood. So this thing is the Claude or the cursor that's able to understand from our request which exactly tool call to do, and then the tool call is being made. So that, how is that? We have the client, which is basically which maintains a 1:1 connection with the server and lives inside the host application. It sends the messages, receives responses, and handles the communication protocol. So obviously, client is there and server is there. So the server basically is the MCP server that provides the context, tools, and prompts to the client. So it basically handles all the execution of functions and then manages the state based on, like, suppose you made a change to a particular file and you saved the particular file. So the server needs to know that you have made the change to the file and you've saved the file. So saving the file means the state has changed. So this maintenance of the state, server is not stateless. It has to know what exactly is going on, and it has to implement the implementation logic properly. Because if you don't do that, then you will be making the same changes to the files again and again. You will be making edits to the file, which is the old version of the file. All these things will happen. So you will need the state to be preserved, and you don't want the LLM to have the state. LLM doesn't remember. I mean, it has the conversation history, sure, but it's not very relevant. If you want to have everything on the server, then the server can know exactly which context, which tools, which prompts. So let's take an example, right? Okay, so as you can see right here, this is the GitHub MCP server. So this has been made open source recently. So this basically provides you a server that actually has a particular set of tool calls, and it provides the context of the repository and everything. What do I mean by that? So this server is going to be hosted somewhere. It can be on your local machine, it can be somewhere else, but local is preferred, because if you host a server locally, then you can make calls locally, which is faster, and then the server itself will get the call that you are giving, and then make a particular specific call to this GitHub, or maybe say Slack, or maybe say Gmail, whatever, and we'll be able to get all the information. We'll be able to change the information. We'll be able to change something. Like, for example, let's say you want to create a pull request, or say you want to update a repository. Suppose you want to add a file, whatever, you want to upload a file, whatever. These all things you will be able to do if you have the MCP server, and Claude will decide what to do. It will give you the tool call. It will give you the JSON object, like name of the tool call, how to, which parameters to pass in, this everything Claude or whatever Claude will provide. And then based on that, you will be able to make calls to the MCP server, which is hosted locally. And that MCP server will be able to send calls to this GitHub, which will be able to in turn provide you all the information that you need. Okay, so let's take an example. Let's take a look at this. So this one is GitHub MCP server, which is the official MCP server of the GitHub. So let's see. So these are all the tools that GitHub MCP server is providing you. So what is that? Get me. So this will get you the details of the authenticated user. You have to provide the authentication. See, this is the usage with the Claude desktop. So as you can see right here, so this one you'll have to provide your GitHub access token, because if you don't provide that, obviously a random person can just go into your GitHub and make changes. So obviously you will need the personal access token. So I hope you know where to get it. So it's going to settings and then developer settings, and then from there personal access token you will get. Okay, so basically this one you will have to provide your token here, GitHub personal access token, and that's it. That is it. So basically that is it, and then you will be able to ask Claude, set up everything. I'll show you how to set up. We are not going to do it with GitHub though. We're going to do it with web search, which is DuckDuckGo web search. So earlier what would have been done is, like, you have to write the code. You could have scraped the website. You could have done like DuckDuckGo or say Selenium and do a web scraping to find out this URL, this question, this answer, and then filter it out and do everything. So that is not necessary at all now. So this DuckDuckGo web server, MCP server that is there, you will be able to make calls to the DuckDuckGo MCP server, which will in turn send a call to the to the DuckDuckGo, basically the web of DuckDuckGo, and then it will be able to provide you all the information that you need from there, which will be in turn used by Claude or GPT-4 or whatever to generate a summarized information, final answer that you need. So this is the MCP server that we are going to do today. So this is another one. I'll do in a follow-up video. So this one basically means that you have get details of the authenticated user. So you have all the details. Next thing is get issue. So it gets the issues, you have this issues tab. So it will be able to go to the issues tab for a particular repository. You will need to provide the owner. So these are the parameters. This is the name. Get issue is the name. And the parameters, the owner, repo, and issue number. So based on what you are providing to Claude, say suppose I want information about this issue which is present in this repository and owned by this person, right? So then Claude will be able to make this tool call, will be able to provide you with this tool. I'll show you how, don't worry about it. But you will be able to provide that name, get issue, and then the parameters with the owner is this, repo is this, issue number is this, and this entire thing will be passed in, will be now made, like the call will be made from the MCP client to the MCP server, which is being hosted, this one. This will make call to the GitHub API, and then GitHub will be able to provide all the information from this, and then this will be sent into the Claude or OpenAI or GPT-4 or whatever it is, and this entire information is being sent. So you have everything you need, and Claude will just summarize the entire thing and give you the answer. That's it, from the JSON object that is being sent from the GitHub to the MCP server to the MCP client, which is being sent to the Claude, and then Claude is able to give you the final answer. So this is very simple, but it's a bit tricky. So if you understand the entire thing, then it's very easy. So yeah, so this is the create issue thing. And then this is the add issue comment, add a comment to the issue list issues, whatever. You can do create pull request review, whatever, yeah, literally whatever. And you can go create or update a file, you can push files, fork repository, search code, get everything. Like these are all the things that you can do with this GitHub MCP server. This have to be defined. So if you make a particular MCP server, I recommend not to do that right now. Just focus on using the MCP servers. There are 1 trillion MCP servers online. So just focus on using them. Use the most common ones. You will get the entire thing that you can do from this readme of these MCP servers, and then you will be able to use it easily. Okay, so let's start writing the code for the DuckDuckGo web search. So basically what we'll do is I'll say I want to know about, quantum computers. Let's say I want to know about MCP. Let's say I want to know about IIT Delhi, whatever. So whatever you want to know, you will be able to get to know it. So basically our idea is that we'll be able to get to know whatever we want and from the web search. And then this web search will be done with the DuckDuckGo endpoint of the MCP server. Okay, so let's start. Let's start writing the code. Okay, before we do that though, I have to show you a flow diagram of what we are going to do today so that you are able to understand it completely, because it will be spread across number of files, because we'll use VS Code. So it's very easy to set up VS Code. So this is the video that you can see how you can set up VS Code in your local environment. And if you have VS Code ready, and I would suggest you to just go on VS Code and start typing. And we will be make a new folder, say call it MCP project, whatever. But just do that and then start writing the code. And I'll first show you a flow diagram so that you're able to understand how it works end to end. Otherwise, it will get a bit confused, because there is MCP client, there's MCP server, there's the MCP integration, and there's the Claude MCP, Claude client, and then we have the final interface, user interface. And we have the requirements.txt, which we'll have to download in order to understand like what is going on. And yeah, there you go. So let's start with the requirements.txt first. Oh, sorry. Let's start with the flow diagram first. Yeah, as you can see right here, so this is our flow diagram. So first thing is we will write ask Claude.py. What is that? So that basically checks the MCP server and then asks Claude client to get the final answer and display it. This is the user interface. The user doesn't need to know anything about it. Just provide whatever you want, whatever query you have in your arguments of the Claude, and then just, so this would be whatever you are making the app, say Streamlit app or whatever app, this would be the interface of that. You're just going to provide it, I want to know about this, and it will just do it everything under the hood. So that is the first thing. Second thing is Claude MCP client.py. So Claude MCP client.py, what does it actually mean? So this ask Claude.py will be making calls to the Claude client. So Claude client will check the MCP server, will send the message, and will handle the tool call and get the final answer. Next thing is the MCP server. So MCP server is going to be basically processing the message. When we're sending the message and handling the tool call, it's going to handle the tool call, it's going to process the message, it's going to get all the information from, DuckDuckGo And then MCP integration is basically, it has the DuckDuckGo request, it has the web result, and this DuckDuckGo request is going to be making a call to the MCP client, and the web result is going to be making a call to the MCP Claude bridge. We'll need the bridge. Why? Because basically you need to process the image and you need to extract the queries from, from the query that you're giving. Suppose I'm giving, like, I want to know about quantum computers. So we want to, so here Claude MCP bridge, what it'll actually do is like, see, extract queries. So extract queries is going to do is like, it's going to process the message, like the message that I'm giving, I want to know about quantum computers. And from there, it's going to extract the quantum computers as the query that we are going to search for. So this is what the Claude will do. We'll need a Claude call, because suppose it's very, very complicated request. For example, I want to know about how, humans lived, evolution, like how evolution happened, and then how humans have been evolving over time and everything. There are so many ways to curate the same request. So the Claude will need to get the understanding and get what we exactly want and generate the tool call exactly how we want it. And then based on that, it's going to make like call the MTP server and handle the Claude tool call, which is the most important function out here. And then after that, it's going to make calls to the DuckDuckGo API. That's it. That's it. And this is what we are going to do today. And I'll explain each and every line, of course. You don't need to worry about it at all. Okay. So let's get started. Okay. Okay. So make a new folder. Okay. So make a new folder and then let's get started. Okay. So first we are going to write about the requirements.txt. Let's make it. Flask 2.0.1 with Ziog 2.0.1. So they're making the application in Flask basically. So I'm going to use make it everything in Python. That is why. And Versag is basically a library that you will need for this MCP thing, but and DuckDuckGo thing. So I mean, it's just something like when I was writing the code, then I got an error and then I imported it. So I don't want you to get that error. That is why I'm writing it at the beginning only. And requests basically, because every API call you will definitely read the request. And then you'll need the python.env 0.19.0 and then OpenAI 1.12.0 and then Anthropic 0.18.1. That's it. This is going to be the requirements.txt. Okay, now that this is out of the way, next thing we are going to do is start with the user interface, because that's the easiest. So we are going to start with that. And then as and when, like, this will obviously, the user interface will obviously have many dependencies. So we are going to add those dependencies one by one after we write the user interface. Always start like this, start from top to bottom. So from top is like the user interface, and then slowly go into deeper into each layer and think about how you want to design each layer. That is the best way to do the coding of multiple files, multiple folders. Okay. So, okay, sorry. This is going to be ask Claude.py, which is basically the user interface. Import sys. Next thing is import OS. Next thing is import requests. Next thing is import argparse. Next thing is import JSON. And then this is what we'll implement next. From Claude MCP client, we are going to import Claude client, which is very important. So Claude client basically has both the Claude client, like the Claude thing, and the MCP client. So these two are separate. I'll try to understand this. So basically the flow I told you, right? So we are going to pass in, like, I want to know about Srimanti. Let's say me. I want to know about myself. Whatever. But yeah, I want to know about Srimanti. And then it's going to be parsing, the Claude is going to be parsing the Srimanti out as the query. And then this is the Claude client basically. And then it's going to pass that out as the Srimanti. And then it's going to pass in like and then decide which tool call it wants to make based on the query that we are asking for. So this tool call will have, fetch web content. So this is the tool call name that we are specifying. Fetch web content, and it's going to provide the name and the parameters. So the parameters will be the query about Srimanti, and the name will be the fetch web content. And then this is what Claude will give us based on number of tool calls that we are going to provide to Claude, and Claude will decide which tool call it wants to make with what query and what parameters. So that is the Claude client. And then it's going to be passing in that to the MCP client. And then MCP client is going to be making calls to the MCP server. And then MCP server will be making calls to the DuckDuckGo. And then the DuckDuckGo will give you the answer, and which will be classed into Claude again. And then this Claude client will again, do everything like handle the tool call, and then answer, like get summarized message from the conversation history. And it's going to provide the final answer, which we will go give back to the Claude, ask Claude.py, and it will give us the final answer. This is very important to understand, because if you don't get this, then the project will become very difficult for you to understand. So get this, understand this perfectly. And I think I've made it clear. So, the rest will become clear as you start typing the code. Okay, so let's start. And then now now definitely comes is that you need to check the MCP server if it's running or not, because otherwise, what are you sending the message to? Check MCP server. So we are going to have MCP URL equal to os.environ.get MCP server URL, comma, HTTP / localhost 5001. Whatever you can decide, whichever port you want to host the MCP server at, I'm going to host it on 5001. So we are going to use that. So obviously it's not going to get it right now because I'm starting from top to bottom, but this helps you to get an overall idea. You now know that you will need a Claude client. You know now that you will need an MCP client. You know now that you need a class MCP server. So you're getting an overall idea of what we are going to make. First is the user interface. Like the bear skeleton is also fine, but first you need to start with this. Now it's going to be response is going to be requests.get. So basically your MCP server will have 3 endpoints. One is the health, to check whether it's running or not, firstly, which is like the basic standard of every REST API. REST API means normal API, don't need to worry about it. So basically that is the first thing, /health, which will give us 200. And next thing is basically process message, is asking you to process the message. And next thing is the tool call, handling the tool call. Okay. So first thing is the health. So we are going to first make a call. Checking MCP server means making a call to the health endpoint to see whether it's first of all running or not. And always give timeout, because you don't want to wait forever. We don't want it to try forever, because it becomes difficult to close otherwise. Response.status code equal 200. Then you're going to return true. That's it. Otherwise, you're going to return false. And if there's some problem, except, requests.exception, exceptions.request exception, then just, return false. That's it. You have the check MCP server. Now the main function. So now you're going to ask Claude questions with the web search capability. So this web search is the tool call that we are going to do, as I explained. Okay. So now let's write that parser equal to argparse.argument parser. And description is going to be, whatever you want to ask Claude. Ask Claude questions with web search capability. That's the first thing. Now, next thing is going to be parser.add argument query. And then nargs equal to whatever it is. And then help, you need a help string. I mean, you can give, whatever it is. This is the question to ask Claude. . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . Also not give any kind of, query either. That's why, n r is equal to star, whatever. This is a mandatory and this is required basically, because I mean, obviously you need to give the query that you're asking, and the rest is not important. So that's fine. Args equal to parser dot parse args. That's it. And now if do check for though this thing, Claude API key. So do go on Claude and get an API key. Otherwise, this won't be possible. So just get an API key from Claude. That's fine. And then os.environment.get. I'm going to show you how to do like export Claude API key equal to your API key. I mean, you know, right, how to get to the Claude API. Yeah, whatever. So just go on Claude.ai, and then get your API key. It's very simple. Just search for API keys and then API key, Claude API key, and you will get an API key for free, like the free version of the Claude. That's it. Don't worry too much about it. Let's move on. And then you need the Claude API key, otherwise it's useless. Claude API key, not a wasted environment, and then just exit. You need the Claude API key, otherwise it's not possible. Just do a print error though, otherwise you won't be able to understand. Like, it's good to have good error strings, because otherwise it's very difficult to understand. Sounds good. Now the next thing is going to be just get the query, if args dot query, and then you're going to get the query as, this is the most important thing basically, join args dot query. That's it. Now the next thing is else. Then basically query is going to be input. Ask Claude. Suppose I did not forget to give the input, it's fine. It's just like a good, cool user interface that I'm going to provide. And then next thing is, okay, so now the thing that comes is very important. Now you're going to, as I said, now this ask Claude.api is going to make calls to this Claude client. So let's make the call to the Claude client. So client is going to be Claude client. And then it's going to be, searching for, just to make it a bit, cooler user interface, searching for query. That's it. And then it's going to be, always do everything, do everything in try catch blocks, because otherwise try except blocks, because otherwise it sometimes happens that there are like weird kind of exceptions that the code runs into. So it's very important to keep it inside try except, so that you know what's going on and it doesn't block the code, I have always learned it. Yeah, it's best to do that. So now next thing is going to be, let's say the answer is going to be client dot get final answer. So VS Code is not suggesting it because we don't have defined client yet, but that's okay because we are going to define it next. And just do exception as, print. Oh, always do this though. Print exception as E, and then print E. It's always good to do this. And also print answer, comma answer. That's it. That's it, literally. So if you have all this defined, so next thing, obviously, you can understand what it's going to be. Not this, but we are going to define Claude client. Yep. There you go. So obviously, this is the problem. So this is now what we are going to define. Claude and MCP client. There are two things that are going to go in here. So we named it Claude client and MCP client. Both things are going to define here. And it's just like, no, nothing specific. It's just I did not want to, create a different file for this. We are already having a lot of files. More files means more confusion. So it's best like this. Okay, so let's write. This will have, remember, this will have both the MCP client and it will have the Claude client. And now say it with me. So Claude client is for assimilating all the requests and handling the tool call, getting the perfect tool call, extracting the queries from our natural language, what query we want to make. So all this is done by Claude. And the MCP client is going to be making calls to the DuckDuckGo endpoint and get the web queries. Right. You're with me so far. It's very easy. If you want to get the hang of it, everything will seem like, just like very easy. And this also happened with me. I did not know about MCP before. And then when I was reading on it, and then it suddenly struck me like this. So that is why it actually inspired me to make this video so that, I'm able to explain it to you as well, how this is going on. Cool. Let's do that now. Next thing is going to be import JSON. We are going to need import requests. We're going to need import time. And next thing we're going to need is from typing, import dict list any optional. There you go. Next thing is Claude API key. Obviously, it's going to be os.environ.get. You know it, right? Claude API key. And just do this because otherwise, if it doesn't get anything, then it will be problematic. Next thing is Claude API URL, which is the Claude, API URL for which you're making the Claude request. This is just for Claude. Like, for OpenAI, it's api.open/OpenAI/v1 something. And for Claude, it's going to be this one, Anthropic one. https://API. That's normal, like normal calls to API, Anthropic API. Anthropic.com/v1/messages. Now, next thing is MCP server URL is going to be again the same thing that we did. I'm just going to copy pasta. Yeah. Localhost 5001. Next thing is going to be debugger. I mean, you can keep it, but otherwise just do print statements. It's fine. It's not like a very professional project. It's just for hobby. So it's good to understand, like, MCP and all. It's fine. Okay, so next thing is class. Oh, sorry. Class, you know what to do. Claude client. Exactly. Okay, sorry. Class, Claude client. And definitely the first thing is going to be def init. Okay, that is fine, but we don't want that. So API key str equal to my Claude API key. And the model is going to be, we're going to just use, the Opus model that Claude has. You can use any other as well. Haiku you can use Sonnet, whatever. It's up to you, but I'm going to use Opus. Claude 3 Opus 2024-0229. That's it. You can use whatever you want, basically. It's fine. If it gives an error, then just switch to another model. Don't need to worry about it too much. And self.api key is going to be API key. Self.model is going to be model. And self.headers. This is all like Anthropic headers that we have to provide to make the API call request with the API key. X API key going to be the API key. Anthropic version you need to provide. Version, which is going to be 2023. and 0601 and content type is going to be obviously application slash JSON slash JSON. That's it. Now the next thing is going to be self.tools. Tools is going to be, now we are going to provide what is this exactly. So this is a list of tools that are available to Claude to decide which tool to use and with which parameters. So Claude is extremely intelligent, obviously, but you need to provide it with the exact tool name and the, have it somewhere in the query. So basically, for example, let's say, for example, GitHub one, as I said, the tools for GitHub would be, create pull request and then create issue. And then all these will be the tools that are provided. And Claude needs to be provided with these tools as well so that it knows exactly how to frame the request, how to make the query, and how to make the response, which to use as the query. So these are the tools basically we need to provide to Claude. So I'm going to provide the tools here. Name is going to be fetch web content. This is like the name that I decided. Next thing is going to be the description. Description is going to be, you can understand, like retrieves info from website based on user queries. Next thing is the input schema, exactly how we are going to provide the input for this. So this is like, not very easy to get the input for this. So that is why type is going to be object, and then properties are going to be, and then query. Query is going to be, type is going to be this string, because as I said, what is going to be our name is going to be the fetch web content, and what is going to be the parameters is going to have one single parameter called query, and the query will have the query, which is the string query. For example, quantum computers. Okay, so type string, and then description is going to be the search query. You understand this? This is how you're going to get, like, tell Claude that these are the tools that are available for use. This is the exact way you need to define the search query or website to look up information about. And then the next thing is going to be required. The query thing is definitely required. So this is exactly how you make these small tools, and we are going to provide only one tool because it's a simple project. But if you wanted, you could provide more tools as well. So for example, like the GitHub one that I said, it will have so many tools like create issue, pull request review, show issue, get search code, whatever. There are so many of them in there. But for us, we are going to just need the web content, so we are going to provide that. Cool, sounds good. Now this will just do this, and now it will just do self.check. You're going to write the function, but don't worry about it. Self.check MCP server. We're just going to check if this MCP server is running or not. Okay, now that we have written this, let's define it. Check MCP server. Self, obviously, it's Python. So again, inside try catch, we are going to do. So response equal to requests dot get. Okay, so the next thing is going to be responses equal to request dot get. Obviously the MCP server health. We are going to check for the MCP server health. I think we already have it here, so let's just use it. This is just like, having it in Claude client, and this one specifically, it's not like very serious kind of thing. This is just something we do generally. Don't have the MCP URL. I think we have it. MCP server URL. Yeah. There you go. Timeout is 2 seconds. Whatever it is, yeah. So, and then if response equal to response dot status code equal 200, then you're going to do return true. And otherwise, if there is accept, and then accept, and then whatever it is, then you're going to do return. Just do pass, and then, return false. That's it. That one is done. Next thing is the most important, which is the send message. So as I said, Claude sent message. This is very, very important because this is what the Claude basically deciphers deciphers the entire thing and then sends the message properly based on, generates the tool call, generates whatever, like that, gives all the names of the tools and the conversation history, and then provides and then sends the message to Claude to get the answer from Claude, basically the Claude API. Okay, so now this is going to be send message and self definitely, and message is going to be str, and then conversation history. Conversation history is going to be just a list of dictionaries. Definitely optional because the first time you're going to provide is not going to have anything. So optional list, and then dict, and then str, comma, in. And this is going to be, this obviously can be none as well, because the first, as I said, yeah, first one won't have anything. And this is going to be returning something similar as well. So it's going to be returning the dictionary of the strings as the response. So yeah, we're going to see what exactly it looks like. So stay tuned with me. Okay. So now next thing is, if not self.api key, then, raise error, raise value error that Claude is required, API key is required. API key of Claude is needed. Obviously, otherwise, how can you even make the call to Claude? Okay. So then if conversation history is none, then just make conversation history as an empty list. Okay. Now that we have the conversation history, so basically conversation history is none, then we'll just, have an empty list. And if it's not none, then it will have the entire conversation history. It's fine. Now let's move on. So now we are going to provide the payload for sending in, asking Claude to, get the next answer or generate the tool call that is necessary based on whatever tools we have. So that one, so first we'll need to provide the model, which is obviously our self.model. These are the times this really helps having, this self already declared the activators attributes. So yeah, max tokens is going to be 4096, and then messages is going to be conversation history plus, obviously you can understand this is how it generally goes, role user content message. There you go. And the next thing is, obviously you will need to provide Claude with the list of tools that are available. So this is going to go in tools as self.tools. There you go. Awesome. Now next thing comes is try. You can provide one more thing here, print Claude, sending request to Claude. There you go. Next thing is basically try. We are going to provide response equal to requests dot post. We're going to post with the Claude API URL, obviously. I don't know why this is happening. Is not defined. Okay, equal to Claude API URL. Wherever obviously this is the standard thing. Post, you have to first provide the URL, and then you have to provide the headers, and then you have to provide the JSON equal to my payload. There you go. And then if response dot status code, let's be positive that it comes out as 200, and then we are going to it's fine. It's like, okay, fine. Let's just have it as if it's not equal to 200, then print the error basically. Print response.json, print error. Error. There you go. I don't think it's a good idea. Like, write a more detailed error, but it's fine. Now, next thing is response dot raise for status. If it's any other status, then you just raise the error. Now, the next thing is result would be equal to response.json. It's very important. And now it's going to be, we are going to print the result. You can print it, you can not print it, it's up to you, but be result. Okay, now the next thing comes is like has tool calls. So basically, this is the thing that is going to provide. So first thing is that you provide a list of tools, and then based on the query, it's able to decide which tool that Claude will need to call, that you will need to call. For example, here you will need to call, fetch web content with query as whatever I gave, like quanta or whatever. Like, I want to know about quanta, I want to know about quantum computers, I want to know about IIT Delhi. So this IIT Delhi will be the string in the query, and that will be provided as a tool call. Tool call name will be fetch web content, that will be provided as, by the Claude client. Here it's obvious because it says only one tool and it will be made, but there are many tools, and then which one to make and which one not to make. So that everything will be determined by Claude. So that's what we are going to check. Has tool call equal to false. So if there's a tool call, then it will be able to call the tool properly with the proper parameters. So that will be provided by Claude itself. So don't worry about it. And then tool call will be equal to this one, based on whatever tool call we are making. And then let's see, if content is present in result, we are printing results, so we'll see what content it looks like. But if content is present in result, then we are going to do for content block in result.get content. Result.get content. If not, then it's fine. If we don't get anything, then it's fine. But if we get it, then we are going to do. And the type is going to be tool use. So this is like the standard Claude thing. So you don't need to, worry about it. So it's just like content.get type. And if this is equal to tool use. That's it. So this tool use, then we know exactly what is going to be doing. So obviously then means that has tool call is true. And we're going to print tool call detected. There you go. And next thing is going to be, we're going to provide the tool call name, because we need it this way, name and the parameters separately. That is why it's important. Tool call name is going to be content block dot get. It's also going to have the name. So yeah. And tool call parameters is going to be empty, but then tool call parameters query is going to be content block dot get name, the query thing. Content block dot get input. If not, then this, and then get query. There you go. So this has now the entire tool call, and then it's going to print the tool call details. Tool call details is going to be my tool call. Great. So this is awesome. So this is awesome, and then this is done. There you go. Now the next thing is basically, obviously, now we are going to handle tool call. This tool response is going to be the handle tool call thing. So this, let me just discuss a little bit. So this handle tool call thing is basically making the calls to the MCP server, which is making the calls to the DuckDuckGo endpoint, and then getting back the response. So this is the response that we are getting from the web search tool call. That's it. So the MCP server that is making the call to the DuckDuckGo API, and the DuckDuckGo API is giving you the answer, and this is the tool response that we are getting. Nothing, Claude has nothing to do with it. Once it has got the parameter and the name and the query string, then it's over for Claude. So next thing is going to be the MCP work. So this is going to be tool response is going to be self dot handle. We haven't written this yet. So this is the next thing that we are going to write, self dot handle tool call. And this is going to be the tool call. Now that's it. And now we are going to print. We're obviously going to print the tool response. It can be formatted better, but it's fine because just the entire overall concept is more important. Making error messages better, print statements better, it's up to you. Okay. So now next thing is going to be conversation history dot append role. You can understand definitely. First thing is the role user. And content is going to be message. And next thing is going to be conversation history dot append role assistant. And content. Now this is a bit interesting. So so the Claude response, it gives us not only the text content, but also it gives us the tool call, as I said. So it doesn't give just the tool call, it also gives a bit description as well. So that description we are going to provide into the assistant message, plus the tool response that we are getting from the tool call. So this tool response we already got from the DuckDuckGo, from the web search. And this has Claude has nothing to do with it. Be very careful. Claude has nothing to do with it. So this is going to be getting the web search results, and then web search results we are passing in for the assistant, for Claude to summarize the answer and to decide whether it needs another tool call, whether it needs, summarization, whatever it is, Claude will decide. Let it leave it to Claude. So the content, we are going to provide it everything here. Content is going to be type text, and text is going to be result dot get content. And then if you don't have any content, then it's fine, let it go. But if you have it, then use it. And then 0 dot get text, and then this. And then the next thing is going to be plus /n the tool call, just simple, like was successful, and here is the information from the tool call. And then just provide the tool response thing here. Just do plus tool response results, and then description. The description of the tool results, that's it. So this being done, next thing is going to be return self.send message. Obviously, it needs to send the message with the conversation history. So this is like sort of, yeah, so this is sort of like this Claude thing, Claude send message, which is being sent again and again based on whether we are getting the final answer or not. If it does not have any tool call and it has the final answer, then it will provide the answer as the output and send it back. If not, as long as it has tool calls, it will do a loop to get all the tool calls that are necessary. Okay. Please summarize the information based on the tool call from the tool call. And here, since we know that we are not going to need anything else, and don't send anymore. That's it. This is the message that we are going to send in, and obviously the conversation history that we made. And what else? Nothing else. Yeah. There you go. And if it does not have a tool call, then it will just return it. Did we have it? Has tool call? Okay. So if not has tool call, then it's going to be print no tool calls detected. No tool calls. Second time, it shouldn't have any tool call. Already got the web search results. I just need to summarize. There you go. And then return result. That's it. And if there's exception, except is going to be exception as E, then, just print E. That's it. And whatever, I mean, it's fine. Doesn't really matter. Next thing is going to be, obviously, the handle tool call. I think we have it. Yeah, see this one. This function we need to define now, how we are going to handle the tool call. So let's see. Def handle tool call. So this is going to have the, what else did we send in here? The tool call basically. Okay. So this is the tool call, which is dict and str, a dictionary of strings basically. And then which is going to return, again, same thing, a dictionary of strings, which is a response. Sounds good. Now it's going to be tool call. Tool name is going to be tool call dot get name, and tool params is going to be tool call dot get parameters. As simple as that. Next thing is going to be sending this tool call to the MCP server. As simple as that. We're going to write the MCP server next, but before that, as I said, we're going from top to bottom, which makes it very simple to understand what is calling what, and we know what that function is going to be because we have already called it and we have an idea of the response, and so we write that. That's as simple as that. It's very, very easy. So, you don't need to worry too much about it. Okay, so now it's going to be like if, the MCP server is not available, then, well, then there's a problem, obviously, because we're going to send in the request to the MCP server. So that is why we're checking the MCP server is available or not. But if it's not there, then you have to start it basically separately and check if there's some other issues. Query is going to be, we don't need query at all. So it's going to return error as MCP server not there. That's it. Nothing else is needed. It's fine. And we're going to try it 3 times because sometimes it happens that a process or a daemon process, which is like the main process that runs in the thread, it just coincides or collides with the main server that we are running. So it happens sometimes. So that is why best to do always max retry is equal to 3. And retry count is going to be 0. And while retry count is less than max retries, try response is going to be request.post the tool call endpoint, server URL, and then tool call, and JSON is going to be name as tool name and parameters as tool params. And obviously timeout needs to be a bit higher because it's returning the web search results. Is going to be response.release for status and then return response.json. And then accept is going to be exception as E. And retry count plus equal to 1. And then it's going to be if retry count is less than max retries, then again try. Just give a wait time so that it often happens that Claude can get, MCP server can get rate limited based on how many requests you're making per second. So that is why just give a wait time to give some, back off time, exponential back off. We generally do, but this is normal as well. You can do whatever. So just do like retry count, some exponential back off basically, and then time dot sleep. Just sleep during the time it's doing that waiting. And then else it's going to be return error again. It won't be the same error message. I'm going to change it, but error is MCP server not responding kind of. There you go. Sounds great. Now it's like obviously you remember this one, get final answer. We have not yet gotten the final answer. Handle tool call. It's amazing, isn't it? No, I mean, it's like, it makes everything so much clear, so much like more vivid as to what is happening. So, I mean, I also was feeling so excited because I understood this completely end to end. And that is why I wanted to make this video so that I'm able to, tell you as well how I understood it and how you can understand it too. It's crazy. It's like literally the eighth thing of this century. But yeah. So now it's going to be get final answer and self message str string, and it's going to be giving a string response as well. Okay, so now we're going to write the final answer, get final answer function, which is the one that I said, like, this is the main one, which will be able to like compile everything together, the tool calls, the send messages, and the final answer summarization and all, like this one, the summarized answer, and then return the result. And this result we need to basically, get the final answer, use the result to get the final answer. So again, I always write inside try catch, try except, as I said. So basically, response equal to self dot send message, and we are going to put in the message here. That's the first thing. And then if the content is in the response, then we're going to get all the content block in response dot get content. If content block dot get type equal text, and then return content block dot get text And if not, then empty. This is the final answer that we are getting. And then it's like, obviously is going to be return the content block. And if it's not able to find anything, then return no clear answer found. Clear answer found. Simple. And then there's exception as E, and then return error as E. That's it. So okay. So now let's see. Now what we are going to write next. Now we're going to write this one next. Wait. Yeah. This is we are sending the request, and then we are sending the server. So now we are going to write the server. The integration first the client and then the server. So this is basically sending the request to the server and then getting the response from there. Handle tool call, obviously the web search results we are getting from here. So this one we'll need to write next, the server. We have made the client, we have made the interface, and now we need the server. So let's make the server. So let's write the server. MCP server.py. That is obviously the next thing, which is the most important. So let's start by import OS. Obviously, we'll need OS. We'll need JSON. We'll need, okay, so now this is very important. From Flask, we are going to import, because Flask is going to be, we're going to use Flask to host the server and to start the server, host it on port 5001 as we decided, local host, and then do all the rest things. Flask, and then request and JSONify. There you go. And from MCP, we have not written this yet. This will be the final file that we'll write, the integration file. So we'll write the server first, because we are sending the call to the server. As I said, like, just make the calls, write it, and then decide what is going to be the input, what's going to be the output, and then you will automatically start thinking about, yes, this should be the body of the function. And even if you are not able to write the body of the function, well, you have Claude, you have GPT, have these LLMs that you can use to write what we call vibe coding. But I would recommend you don't do that. Like, literally, it's your start of the journey. So just, do it yourself. The satisfaction you get, the knowledge you get is like literally, out of this world. So just, do it. It would hurt a little bit, but then the satisfaction would be so much that you will feel so happy. I'm telling you. So, okay, so this is going to be the bridge one. So we're going to write the bridge next. First, we'll need the server. So let's type the server, and we're also going to have the Claude tool call handling. I'll come to it, so don't worry about it. So first thing is going to be the port. Port is going to be int os.environ.get port. If it's not provided, then it will be 5001. Next thing is going to be app, which is going to be the Flask, because we are basically hosting something. That is why it's important to have the Flask server. Next thing is going to be the bridge. Bridge is, as I said, Claude MCP bridge. You're going to write it, don't worry about it, but just, just stay along. Next thing is going to be, as I said, there are 3 endpoints that we are doing. One of them is the tool call endpoint that we sent here. One of them is the health endpoint, tool call. Yeah, this is the tool call endpoint for the server URL. So we need to define how the tool call actually works. So that is why this is the first is the health, obviously, to check whether it's even running or not, whether it's there or not. Methods, always keep a health endpoint, because it helps us to, understand what's going on. And get. Next thing is def health check. This is going to be return JSONify, and it's going to be status. Okay, there you go. Next thing is the process message. Route slash, this is the normal one. Methods equal to get. This is going to be basically the root. So it's going to return JSONify name Claude MCP server. Why do we need Claude MCP server? I mean, we can just have MCP server. It's fine. Claude MCP server we don't need, but yeah, it's whatever. And then it's going to be status. It's going to be running. Next thing, the endpoints. Defines all the endpoints basically. So that if it's like, you know, a huge project, then you actually know which endpoints are there, which endpoints are not there, and what you can do, what you cannot do, whatever. Is going to be first is going to be health. Methods is going to be post. Sorry, for health, the method is get, as we said above. And, you know, description you can give, you cannot give, it's up to you. Health. Okay. Okay. So the next thing is going to be the health. Health we already got. The next thing is going to be basically the tool call. So we are going to make a tool call, obviously, the web search that we are going to do. So this is going to be methods and then post. And then finally the description. Description as going to be basically the direct tool call. Handle the direct tool call basically. Handle the tool call. Whatever it is, yeah. And then okay. Yeah. Sounds good. So this kind of typos, it can happen, but it's fine. Now we have everything under control. So we have the tool call, and this tool call will be basically making the call to the Claude MCP bridge, which is a specific class that we wrote for this, and then Claude will basically make the ask the DuckDuckGo to make the like the MCP client to make the call to DuckDuckGo API. I hope I make myself clear. So this is just a secondary step that we have, but the overall idea is that whatever I said. Okay, so the next thing is going to be the tool call. So app.route tool call and methods equal to post. That's it. And now def tool call is going to be so obviously if not request or JSON, then just return that invalid request. Do JSONify because otherwise it becomes difficult to parse. We'll just not be able to get, not only we're getting the error, we're also not able to pass them. So it's best to always provide a JSON request, invalid request, and then the status as 400. And then again, the same thing. Tool name is going to be tool call dot get. Maybe not that request dot JSON dot get name and parameters equal to request dot JSON dot get parameters. There you go. And now if tool name obviously is not fetch web content, maybe Claude did some error. It doesn't do generally, but suppose you used a worse model and then it did an error, then it's no use because we need exactly this one to be sent. Fetch web content, and then again return same thing. Return JSONify error, and then unknown tool name. Again, it will be same thing, 400 only, not found. And then the result is going to be here, the handle Claude tool call, as I said. So this is the main function that is going to do. So it's going to be making a call to the bridge, the Claude MCP bridge, and then bridge is going to make the call to the DuckDuckGo API. You can also remove this part secondary, but this makes it more clear, more transparent. That is why I have kept it. And then it's going to be return JSONify result. There you go. And obviously this server thing we have to start on our own. Nobody's going to start it for us. So this main thing we'll need, and this will basically app.run. Just want to run the Flask app that we made. App.run host equal to 0.0.0.0, and then port is going to be equal to port, and then debug, whatever, debug is fine. This is very important. Okay, now that we have this entire thing, now the only thing left is the MCP integration, this bridge and the handle tool called API, whatever it's going to do. So this is the tool call, it just gave it to Claude to do whatever you want. So Claude is not exactly Claude, so it basically makes a bridge and then calls the DuckDuckGo endpoint. So you can also make it handle tool call simply, not necessarily Claude, but it's up to you, because since we are doing it inside Claude, so it's fine. So it doesn't really matter. The overall idea is what I said. It's nothing else. Okay, now let's start writing for the MCP integration. This is the last file, so bear with me. Bear with me. Oh my God. Import RE and then import JSON. Then it's going to be import requests. And then from typing, import dict list and any. We also need optional and literal. They're all different types, so it's like as we'll type, you'll see. From data classes, import data class and as dict. And then import OpenAI. And then import Anthropic. Anthropic is the main thing that we'll need. OpenAI we won't need, but whatever, it's fine. And now it comes the DuckDuckGo endpoint, which is making call, like the tool call that we are doing, the web search is making the call. So this is the thing. / api.duckduckgo.com, and it's going to be the Claude API key. Again, the same thing. I think we already have it somewhere here. Yeah, I'm going to use this. Perfect. And next we are going to be providing the LLM provider. So my LLM provider is basically Claude. And then the next thing is coming out to be the data class. So it's going to be the class DuckDuckGo request. And then first thing is the query, which is the string. And then it's going to be the format, which is the string again. And it is going to be JSON, obviously. So the DuckDuckGo request is going to have a query. Query is like whatever I give, like for example, I want to know about quantum computing, I want to know about IIT Delhi, whatever it is, IIT Delhi, whatever it is. So the DuckDuckGo request, the query is going to be the IIT Delhi, the one thing that we search in Google search basically. And no HTML is going to be int1. We don't want any HTML responses. Keep it simple and keep it like clear and everything. And also do not disambiguate. So that is why skip disambig is going to be int equal to 1. So this one we won't probably use, but it's good to have it because we might support this in the future. And is dict. So you just return the answer in the form of dict, because otherwise it's difficult to process. So it's good to have these functions. Return as dict self. There you go. And next thing is going to be again data class. And this is the web result. This is the request and this is the result. Always make different things for response and request and result, because otherwise it becomes difficult to understand. Just make different classes, it makes your life so much simpler. Title is going to be a string and URL is going to be string also, and then description is going to be string, and content is fine. I mean, whatever, description is enough for now. And now comes the MCP client. We have the Claude client in the other file. Now we have the MCP client and we'll have the bridge. I think that's it. We do have the Claude client, yes. So we now have the MCP client, and then finally this will finish everything. So MCP client, what it's going to do is going to basically do the search for the DuckDuckGo endpoint. That's it. That is the main thing that we need. So MCP client is going to do that. Init. So this is going to have self, going to have endpoint as my DuckDuckGo endpoint. And then it's going to be basically store it as the endpoint. Self.endpoint equal to endpoint. Next thing is the search. This is the most important thing. Search self and then query string, and count is going to be int equal to 10. It is not needed. It's needed if you want to extend it further. So I'll just send one search result only. Count, we don't want too many search results, so we're going to send only one. List web result. Still list because I want you to support more results in the future, but if not, then also fine. DDG request, and Q would be my dear query. And then next thing is coming out to be try as response equal to requests dot get. This is because we are not posting anything, we're just getting the response. So self dot endpoint, and params is going to be request dot to dict. There you go. And now response dot raise for status, and data is going to be response dot JSON. And now we are going to have results as, and if data dot get abstract, now results dot append is going to be web result, and title is going to be equal to my data dot get title, my heading. That is what like the DuckDuckGo request basically sends us the response finally with heading, with abstract and all this. So that is why we are doing this. So heading is going to be this. And then URL is going to be data.get abstract URL. And then description is going to be data.get abstract. That's it. Abstract generally has all the answer for everything. So this is enough, more than enough. And next thing is going to be return my results. There you go. And again, obviously accept exception as E, and then just print E and return empty. There you go. Perfect. And now the only thing that is left is my bridge. The bridge is going to make the query to the MCP client. MCP client is going to be making the query to the DuckDuckGo endpoint. And this bridge and the MCP server made the call to the bridge. This one, this handle tool call. This one is basically the bridge. And this bridge is going to be making the search query, calling the search query. There you go. So let's write this one. Claude MCP bridge. So this is going to be def init. This is going to be my LLM provider. LLM provider, which is equal to Claude. And this is going to be self.mcp client is going to be the client, because it's going to make the call to the search, this search thing. The bridge is going to make the call, and this handle tool call is going to make the call to the bridge. So you can also remove one part of it, but this makes things so much easier to understand like what is happening exactly. So this is going to be MCP client, and then self.LLM provider is going to be LLM provider. And if LLM provider equal Claude, so just, self.Claude client is going to be Anthropic API key equal to my Claude API key. There you go. And now next to the extract website. So this is one thing which is important. This is why the Claude MCP bridge is so important. It's going to extract the exact website name from the query. So I said, like, suppose I want to know, oh, okay, so suppose the query is like this. Suppose I do not know much about, evolution. So I mean, I want to know about evolution. So can you give me some information about how humans started coming up on Earth? What was the first thing that came up on Earth? So all this would be the response, and then the extract website, the Claude will be able to get what exactly the query that we are asking for. So that is the exact website name that we are searching for. So that is why we are going to do this. Earlier I did it with regex, but regex becomes difficult because regex is not the way to go. When you have LLM, just use LLM. Extract website queries with LLM, and self, user message is going to be string, and list is going to be string. And then if basically self.LLM provider equal Claude, we are going to return self.extract with Claude, basically. Earlier it was regex, so basically that is why I made this extract with Claude. We don't want to do regex at all. And else is going to be return error. That's it. It's going to be a list. So okay, now obviously extract with Claude comes next. Very simple, just make a call to Claude to get what exactly the website we are getting. Just a simple Claude query. So self.user message string, and then list string. Then try is going to be response equal to self.Claude client we already have, and then messages dot create. We already are sending, we have the Claude MCP client, Claude client we already have. So this Claude we are going to just use use this send message of Claude, or even if we don't want to send it, that's also fine. But this is like for tool call. No, we don't want to do that. We're going to make it separate. Okay, let's do that. So model equal to, okay, this one we are just going to use Sonnet. It's up to you what you want to use. 2024-0229. You can get the entire list from the Claude.ai website, so that's okay. And now it's going to be max tokens equal to 1000, and temperature is going to be 0.1, and system is going to be you are a helpful. Okay, so you're a helpful assistant that basically identifies web search queries in user message. Okay, so that identifies web search queries in user message, and basically it's asking me to extract any particular website that we might be having. Like for example, particular website would be like, for example, basically we want it to return as a JSON object with the queries, and if no queries are found, then you basically return an empty array. So this is what we are going to do. So as you can see, extract any specific website or topic the queries user wants information about, and return results as JSON object with a queries field containing an array of strings. If no queries are found, then return an empty array. If no queries are found, then return an empty array. That's it. This is going to be the system message. And the messages is going to be, role as user, and the content is going to be the user message. Perfect. And now we have the messages as well. We have the response as well. Okay, sounds good. Now we are going to basically, you already sent the message to the Claude client. So content is going to be response dot content 0 dot text. And then it's going to be basically getting all the, the JSON response. From the response, the JSON match is going to be, re.search as triple backtick, and then just search the JSON, basically JSON. And if you have found the JSON, then get all the responses in between JSON. You can use this from the LLM itself to generate the JSON, which I did. So whatever, I mean, it's up to you. No need to understand this fully. It's okay. And then slashes, and then star, and then the triple backtick, and finished. And then it's going to be the content, and then basically re.all. There you go. This is a JSON match. And definitely, if there's JSON in the response, JSON match, then basically do result equal to JSON dot loads my JSON match dot group one. Group one means basically the match that we found. And otherwise, try would be result equal to JSON dot loads content. If the only thing that Claude returned was the JSON, then also it's fine. And just do accept as basically accept as return error, whatever is fine. And then it's going to be the queries would be result dot get queries, the way we asked it to basically give us the response, and it will be a list of queries that is giving, and it will be return queries. There you go. And now except is going to be exception as E, and then just printing. That's it. And definitely return the empty array. There you go. This bridge is complete now, and we have the extract with Claude. The only thing that is left is the process message thing, because it's going to be processing the message and then sending the query to the search API, and only that is left. And the other thing is left is basically the handle tool call, and then it's finished. It will be finished, and you'll be able to run the code and see the answer. It's magic. It's pure magic, I'm telling you. Okay, so after this is done, the only thing that is left is the handle tool call. And once that is done, then everything will be over. So basically, let's see. So this is the only thing that is left. So we are going to make this, write this right now. So handle Claude tool call. There you go. And this is going to be having the tool parameters. This is just needed for, to send a call to the MCP client search, so to the DuckDuckGo endpoint, and get back the answer and then send it back. So you remember where we called the handle tool call here, I think. Yeah. So this, the tool call is calling the server thing, and then it's calling the Claude tool call, so that it's able to call the bridge client, and then client is able to send this one DuckDuckGo request. This search is going to be called here. That's it. That's the only thing that is left. So dict, and then str comma any, and it's going to be dict str comma any, and then query is going to be equal to tool params dot get query, and this is empty. And this is going to be if not query, then obviously return error, no query. We need the query obviously, otherwise like what is even happening. So this tool params, if you remember, we are sending here the parameters exactly. So the parameters, they do have the parameters has the query. If you remember, we made that way. So this parameters, if you remember, see this parameter has the query. So the query will have the query which is going to be sent. So if that is not there, then it's useless to do anything. And then finally is going to be the bridge. We are making as the Claude MCP bridge. And results are going to be bridge.mcp-client.search. That's it. Done. Search query. And then we are going to return, the results as dict result for result in results. There you go. Perfect. So everything is done now. Now the only thing that is left is running the code. Okay, so only thing that is left now after everything is done. So this was a huge project. I hope you understand everything. Now the only thing that is left is running the project. So we are going to run it. So let's see. First thing is going to be first thing is definitely going to be installing everything. So write with me, pip install our requirements.txt. So this is fine. I think I made some mistake. Yes, equal. And this also was a typo. Yep, I've already installed it, everything. So that is why it did not take any time. But if you are doing it for the first time, then it will take some time. Now definitely do this. Claude API key equal to your API key. Just go onto the site claude.ai and then you'll be able to get it. I'm going to put it my API key here, but I don't want, I'll blur it out. So, just put it here, copy paste it, and then press enter and you will be done. Yeah, now I've done that. And now I've cleared it again. And now next thing comes is basically start the server. Python MCP server.py. Okay, I think, so this error that we are getting is basically because of, some problem with the Anthropic. So let's do pip install upgrade Anthropic. Okay, it's already saying requirement satisfied. I'm not sure. So, let me just check once. Let's go through the code once again and see if we find any issues or something. This is fine. We are calling the get final answer. So this is the get final answer, and we are calling this fine. Handle tool call, it's fine. And this is fine. Claude API key is fine. Everything looks good here. And here, yeah. So this one thing I had done before. So this one is request.json, right? So this request.json, you should not do this here. So this was earlier there. So this is important. Don't have that. This is one thing that was important. I changed it right now. And this is and one more thing, I think one more thing is that this would have been like not as dict, it would have been to dict. So earlier it was as dict. So we want it to be to dict because we are going to be using it to convert to the dictionary. And now let's see if this is working or not. Yeah, see, this is working. Now the server has started. At least this is working. Now in the new terminal, now you need to also again do this export Claude API thing. Export Claude API key equal to the API key. But once you have done that, it's fine. Next thing is going to be very simple. We just need to do ask Claude. You can also do Python ask Claude.py. And we are going to ask it, I want to know about Mars. It's going to be searching for, I want to know about Mars and sending request to Claude. Whatever we give. So here you go, tool call detected. You have the tool call detection. Let me see. We have the ask Claude. So this one first input is going to be this. It got the query and then it's sent to the final answer. So get final answer is content and then it's going to be sending in the send message. So send message is going to be first thing we're going to be sending request to Claude. You saw we sending request to Claude. Perfect. Sending request to Claude, and the Claude response came out to be ID and then type message, role assistant, whatever. We are printing that here, Claude response result. So this one came out, and just watch it. Very, very important. So this is what the text is in the thinking token. And then the tool call is actually this. The type tool use is going to be the ID, and then name is going to be fetch web content, which is perfect. And the input is going to be query and then Mars. Exactly. So now we know we are going to search for Mars here. So obviously, tool call detected. You has tool call is true, and then that is why it printed this tool call detected. And next thing is the tool call details. We are sending the tool call details is name and parameters, just as the way we made it. And now the tool response, it came out results inside results. So this handle tool call went here, and this checked the MCP server and then posted to the MCP server. And the MCP server is here. So it went to the tool call and then got the tool call, and then it called handled Claude tool call. So it called the bridge and then it called the search. So this search is the DuckDuckGo endpoint, DuckDuckGo request, this one, and it called the request.get endpoint, which endpoint is basically the DuckDuckGo endpoint, which is this one. And this is the MCP server, and the server made the call to this, and then we got the abstract thing we got here, and we returned the result. So this is the entire thing, the results. The description is Mars is the fourth planet and all this. And the title is Mars, URL is this. Perfect. Now we got the description out, we got the data out, and we returned the result. So here we returned the results, and we returned the results as dictionary. Perfect. So we returned the results. This is the results. And let's go back. So here we got the result and we JSONified the result and we returned it. So let me see where we made the call to the MCP server. We made the call here in handle tool call for the MCP Claude client, and then we returned the response. So, and where was this made? This was made, and this is the tool response. And then we printed the tool response, which is the result. And then we again, please summarize the information. Then again, we're sending request to Claude, and it summarized the information, gave the text as the answer, and see, this is the entire answer. After it has stopped thinking, here is a summary of the key information about Mars. And then this is providing the information. So what was the information that was coming in? Classified terrestrial planet, second smallest, and then 1.88 Earth years, whatever it has given. 1.8 Earth years, small terrestrial planet, and perfect. It's not going to use anything. It's going to use the web search results exactly and nothing else. Mars is also home to this. And then it got the answer, and then it got no more tool calls. As I said, no tool calls anymore for the second one. And the fetch web content provided a high level overview, and it got the entire answer, and this covers, and here's summary as well. And this is the final answer. Final answer we have. This is the thinking token. So because we're using Claude thinking, and this is thinking one, and this is the final answer that we got from Claude. Perfect. It works perfectly as you have seen. Perfect, as you have seen, it is an end-to-end project. Now you can just simply go onto the website and make a Streamlit application, make a Flask application, make a Django server, whatever you want just with the interface, and then ask the user to ask anything, and it's going to do this MCP web search in the background. You can use GitHub. I'll also make a project on GitHub MCP server. I'll make a project on many MCP servers and all, how you can use them, how you can do this Claude thing, entire thing. I mean, it's end-to-end and it's perfectly working. I've explained everything in detail, and I really, really encourage you all to go and try this entire thing out. And I promise you won't be disappointed. So it was like very excited. I was so excited to learn about MCP. And so I wanted to tell you all. And, all the best, and, like, subscribe. And then also, if you have any questions, to drop them in the comments. Many more are coming soon. Okay, bye. Take care.